Can you actually run PS4 games on a PC in 2026? And is it finally playable? In this video, I'm setting up the ShadPS4 Emulator step by step on Windows. I'll test it on both NVIDIA RTX and AMD Radeon GPUs, and I'll also try running it on a powerful Android device using the GameHub Windows emulator. So let's jump straight into the setup. Alright, so right here, we're on their main GitHub page. You all already know about this emulator. ShadPS4 is a free, popular, open source PlayStation 4 emulator. It supports Windows, Linux, and Mac OS. I tested this emulator almost like a long back ago, but that was on an older build. Now this time, things got changed. Like they've made a lot of changes, fixes, and major improvements. You can also see their project status. It's still in early development. We all know how tough it is to emulate PlayStation consoles on PC or an Android because of their complex architecture code. The translation process here is much more difficult compared to Android to Windows translations, with more drivers support. And if you want, you can check out their official webpage directly from here. You can get the emulator available for Windows, Linux, and Mac OS. They also mention the Qt launcher, which is the main GUI. It comes with built-in PS4 libraries, so you can update core directly from the launcher itself. I'll show that during the setup. Now let's go to the releases section. And there we go. We've got the latest pre-release build uploaded about an hour ago. And right here, ShadPS4 version 0.4.0, codenamed Just Shadow, is the latest available build. And this is actually the core version, not the GUI. So basically, we need to install this core version into the main ShadPS4 GUI version. Here I have already got these files, and these are the requirements. For this, we mainly need the package editor and the ShadPS4 Qt launcher. Here I have the latest build versions, which are mostly not necessary because the Qt launcher already comes with an inbuilt source. If I try to install this core version, it tells me to use the Qt launcher to import this CLI-based build. And finally, here I have some PS4 titles. I can't share the source links here. You need to find and get them yourself. After you get those files, the game ROM files will be in compressed format. So simply extract the files to get the package files. Now we need to extract the PKG package files using a tool with the help of the package editor. Same here, simply extract the compressed zip files. Go to the package editor folder and open the package editor app. Now we need to extract the PKG file of the game ROM using this tool. Simply go to your game ROM path and select the game package file. As you can see, we get the ROM details in the app version. Now simply export it to a GPT project in the same game folder path. Let's rename it. Alright, it's done. In the same way, you need to extract the ROM package files into GPT project files. Once you extract the files, you'll see all the files like this. Here, this ebootbin file is the most important file to boot the game in the emulator. I have already extracted these games, both the boot file and the GPT game data files. Make sure to create a separate folder for each game ROM. Don't mix them. Alright, now open the ShadPS4 Qt launcher. Here, set the directory path of the game ROM files. Select the folder, then select OK. And there we go. All the game titles are imported here. You can see the firmware version and game size as usual. The UI looks the same. Now we need to do one more thing. Go to Version Manager. Now we need to install the latest PS4 build version. You can also enable Check for Updates at Startup. Now choose the latest version and confirm. Alright, so the latest version is installed. You can also install multiple versions based on game compatibility. For some older titles, you can choose version 0.7 or 0.6. For now, I'll choose the latest version. If you want to add a custom version, you can import your files and just give it a name. So here, I'll go with the latest pre-release version. Now select the version. This applies as the global setting for the emulator. Now we need to configure a few more things. Go to Settings. As usual, leave all these at default. Go to Graphics Settings. Here, choose the GPU device you prefer and the display mode you prefer. The mode is set to Mailbox VSync. Now set the resolution. If you are using a low-end GPU, set a lower resolution. You can even enable HDR if you want, and also FSR as well. But mostly, leave all these settings at default. Now go to the debug option. Here, enable shader dumping. This will extract the shaders from the game and save them into a folder. Whenever you load the game, it will load faster without rebuilding shaders. And that's it. These are the main settings. Now apply and save. For input controls, you can normally use the keyboard. Or controllers, you can map the buttons based on your preference, like the D-pad or analog stick keys. If you have a controller, it would be much better. So here I connected my PS4 controller to this PC via DS4. Now let's go to controller options. Here, select your active gamepad. I'll choose my PS4 controller. You can still map the keys, but it mostly works better by default. Once done, apply and save. That's it. Now it's time for the test. Let's first start with Bloodborne. So here I'll launch it with the global settings. Alright, it started. You can also use shortcut keys like F10 to view the FPS meter, or Control plus F10 key to view the video debug info. Right now, I'm running this on the RTX 3050 laptop GPU. You can also check out my PC specs mentioned below in the description. Also, follow the timestamps mentioned below. And if you're new here, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. It's free. And there we go.
Oh, yes. Pale blood. Well, you've come to the right place. Yharnam is the home of blood ministration.
Also, you need at least 8 GB of RAM, but 16 GB or above is recommended. You'll also need a GPU that supports the Vulkan 1.3 API. In simple terms, you need at least a GTX 1050 or above for better gaming performance at minimum resolution. This project is still in an early beta state, which means you may still face some stuttering or lag issues in certain games. It currently works with some playable titles, as mentioned in their compatibility list. You'll find a lot of playable titles listed there, but playable doesn't mean smooth or perfect. Some games run with good FPS, while others struggle, especially intensive titles like the one we're playing right now. Now on the go, let's test this on the Intel Iris Xe Graphics G4, which is an integrated GPU. It only has 48 compute units, up to 384 shader cores, and 3 Xe cores, which is basically on the lower side. So let's see. Same process. Here, let's set the GPU to the integrated GPU and set the window resolution. But the window resolution doesn't mean it will render at a custom resolution. The original PS4 only renders graphics at the default 1080p while supporting various video output resolutions, starting from 480p. You can see at the top right that this is running at native 1080p PS4 resolution. The setting below is just the output window scale resolution. Now let's get into it. Alright, now it's time to test on this tiny but powerful handheld AMD PC, the Asus ROG Ally Z1 Extreme. It has AMD Radeon 780M graphics, which is still quite powerful and efficient. So let's see. Same as usual, let's go to Settings. Here, AMD Radeon graphics is selected and FSR is enabled. This PC is set to turbo mode at maximum power watt output, and it runs like this even without being plugged in. Let's also enable the FPS meter at the top. And there we go. And now finally, let's test it on a powerful Android device via a Windows emulator to see whether it works or not. I mean, emulation inside an emulator on Android. The phone right here is powered by the Snapdragon 8 Elite with the Adreno 830 GPU, running on the latest Vulkan API driver. It also has 16 GB of RAM. So, let's see. I'm not sure if it will work or not. For this, we are using the GameHub emulator. Same as usual, let's import the ShadPS4 Qt launcher executable. So let me show you. Here, I have already copied all the files to the internal storage, including the ROMs. So let's see. Now let's go to its settings. Here, I'll set the resolution to 540p. Still, as I mentioned, the native PS4 runs at 1080p by default. Under compatibility, I'll mostly leave everything at default. Now we need to run this as a container. Even if a native Android PS4 emulator is released, it's almost impossible to run on normal Android devices. It would likely only work on high-end Snapdragon Elite devices like this one. Even PS3 emulation still struggles a lot to run properly. Here, I'll set the game ROM path. Alright, and there we go. All the files are imported. Now, as usual, we need to install the firmware file. So install the latest 0.14.0 pre-release version and set the version. Now let's quickly go to settings and set the GPU driver to the Game Fusion driver, which uses our phone's Adreno GPU. Now let's launch the game. And alright. So unfortunately it's not working, so please don't waste your time trying this. There are still some videos on YouTube showing ShadPS4 on Android. Just ignore them. Right now, it's not possible. Even PCs struggle a lot with this level of emulation. In the future, it might become possible if someone solves and optimizes the complex code architecture to make it run more efficiently. I hope so. Alright, that's pretty much it for this video. That's the full setup and test of ShadPS4 Emulator in 2026. And if this helped you out, drop a like and consider subscribing for more. And do let me know what PC specs you're running on in the comments. And thanks for watching. And I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.